Yo, what's up, guys? I wanted to do a Tesla update because I haven't done anything on Tesla in a while. So in case you guys are in on this and watching, we have been seeing some downside action, which I was expecting due to this TD9 red flash on the daily. So I did expect some downside, and also we've been in that rising channel, and we did get a breakdown out of it as well. I had this trend line up in this area for the potential area of resistance on the RSI where we were going to come to. But if you look down at the RSI, we actually didn't come to that. So it might actually have been a little bit lower, but it did actually work out pretty good that I had the trend line up there. It's kind of funny. It topped out right there. So needless to say, looking at this MACD, we are rolling over a little bit, but I don't think that, even though this is looking a little toppy right now, I don't think that we're going to actually crash right down like we did here. But I actually think that we're going to have some type of double top action. So I think that we're going to get another move up. And we still haven't hit my price target of the breakout of this pattern yet. We're still a little bit shy. My price target of the breakout is around 519, 517 something. I think it's 519 to be honest. Then we could get a bigger correction down, maybe to test this like daily 20 EMA or something. But if you look at this RSI here, you can see that we did fall down and we are heading towards this resistance on this rising channel. Well, actually, this rising channel that I have in here, I've had in here for a while, which, probably looks better on like the 4-hour time frame or something. That's probably where I dropped it in. But we did have like a small little double top here, and we came down, and we're finding support right around the same area where we found support prior to the blast off here. So this could be a pretty good resistance support line here, which is in confluence with the 20 EMA on the 4-hour, and we'll look at that a little bit later. But I do want to look at what I am potentially looking for happening. Now, we are above this 70 area on the RSI, which does indicate some, very strong RSI. But, now we're sitting on the 70, so that's a good thing that we stay where we are. So, I don't think we're going to come down much lower from where we are here, and I do expect a bounce, and I'll show you why in a few. But eventually, I do think that once we come back up and test this for a second time, as we've done in the past, we've been rejected quite a few times in this higher range on the daily RSI. So I'm kind of looking at something like this. If you look here, we had a nice W here with the bear trap action. We came up double topped, and then we trended in this consolidation pattern, which we finally broke out of. And now we did double top. Now, I don't think we're going to just drop right down where we are now, but I do expect us to double top a little more and on this daily. So come up for one more retest, come up and touch that 619 area, and then that'll be our double top, and then we'll fall further down, which will give us that right shoulder on the RSI, which will bring us to a inverse head and shoulder, which can potentially push us up higher, and I'll show you potentially price targets on higher time frames later. But our 20 EMA on the daily is at the moment at 483, so maybe we could come as low as 483 to 518 once we get this 620 area that I have. I'll show you in a few. So as you see here, we came down to about 541 over the course of the day. I don't know if that was today or not. I wasn't even really watching Tesla. Just know it's been being very red lately. So, this is the rising channel, and I would like to actually extend this because that way we can see if it does try to get back into this rising channel, if we end up getting rejected or not once we come up, and we'll see if this makes any sense at all. But I want to see what the breakdown target of this rising channel was and see if this actually makes any sense here on the breakdown that we had. So I'm going to move this trend line here over to the breakdown here. Damn, that's pretty damn close. So we got a little bit more support here on the 20 MA. I mean, I would have had a target of 532, and we came down to 540. So a little bit different, but that's perfectly fine. I mean, that just shows you that our breakdown for now is all done, because this is the rising channel. This was the downside that I would have expected. And now from here, we should be able to bounce. And if you look at the RSI on the 4-hour here, we did get a bounce right there, and we got bought back up, as you can see on the candles. The buyers came in and bought this thing right back up. Now, we had this MACD cross as well that also pushed us down. But, I'm seeing a breakout actually incoming, probably anywhere from like in after hours or tomorrow morning. So we're gonna have to watch for a break above this 572, I believe was my target, 572 level. And you can see this inverse head and shoulders as well. Depending on how far down we come on this RSI on the 4-hour, most likely we will come all the way down and test this bottom trend line that I drew in here. So I do expect that. But you can see this tiny little head and shoulders pattern on the 4-hour. It's really small, but that was the right shoulder. That was the left shoulder. That's the head. That would have been tough to catch personally. But it was kind of a fake breakout, and then come back down, then got resistance on that same trend line, then we fell down. So, we could do something like this where we like M out on this 4-hour. I do think that our RSI will create some type of bearish divergence eventually when we do have this move up. But if it doesn't, I mean, I'm perfectly happy with that. But just knowing that we've been rejected in this upper area of this RSI on the 4-hourly and the daily for so many times, that I do expect us to be, getting some type of correction after this next move up. Now, we could still come up to that top trend line there, which could be our next move. We'll have to wait and see. So if I draw a trend line here, this was our consolidation pattern that we were in prior to the breakout. We broke out, we came up, we caught some resistance up in the, overbought area. This is where we're consolidating, broke up, caught resistance. And you can see above, that's the consolidation. And then we got a little bit of a dejection, a little bit of a sell-off, which makes sense. $600, that's a big even. Most of the time, you got people that like to buy at big evens and sell at big evens. So you kind of have to expect those type of things. 600 is a big level and big even. So a lot of people took profits, and that's perfectly fine. So we had a little bit of sell-off. No, so what? So, I don't think that this run is over, but we are getting pretty close to my targets. So I do expect once I hit my targets that we will be getting sold off. Now, I'm not sure how low we're going to come. I'm going to try to figure it out, but it's just right now it's just somewhat of a guess, but I will show some support and resistance lines. Excuse me. So let's look at the weekly here. So as you see, like as of right now, we do have like bearish divergence on the weekly, but I don't think that we're done yet. I think we're going to come up higher on this RSI. So if we do come up higher, we might even blast through my potential price target that I'm going to give you today. So we'll have to watch this weekly, but depending on if it decides to roll over or not, we don't know yet. I mean, it is rolling a little bit, but I don't think we're done yet, because if we are, then this will be some pretty bad bearish divergence right now, because of how low we are on that RSI on the right. We're way down there, and on the price action, we're the opposite. But this can always change over the next course of the next few weeks, so it's not too concerning to me just yet. As long as we continue up higher and higher on that RSI, then we can cancel that out, and we most likely will, depending on how high we come. But so MACD cross negative, RSI obviously fell down, but it is getting a little bounce here. Now I'm going to show you in the smaller time frame here on the hourly what we have going here. So as you see, we are starting to get a squeeze between these EMAs. So this should potentially give us some type of move here. Now, is this move going to be to the downside or to the upside? So if we look at the MACD here, it's starting to roll up, which is a good sign. And on the RSI here, we're getting a nice double bottom, nice W here. And, it looks like we actually had a little bit of bullish divergence there. Looks like we're straight across on the price action of the bodies of the candles, and we're showing that we're a little bit higher on the right on the RSI W. So that's good to see. So our hourly 20 EMA is at 572, so we will have to get above that. And we're going to take a look and see what kind of pattern we have playing out here, if there's anything that's going to tell us that we're moving up or down. So we're going to draw a trend line from these first two highest wicks and see if anything lines up. And it looks like something's lining up there. That smallest green candle before our wick down is getting resistance perfectly on this line. Now, if I draw from these first two wicks all the way across, I'm going to have to count that one big candle that fell out of the pattern as a potential fake out. So I think that was a fake wick down to scare some sellers and cause them to short, and now they're going to get wrecked if they did put a short in, because it's not quite ready to go down yet, even though I was expecting us to. But after looking at these charts, I'm actually seeing that we do have this one more push up, and I was kind of surprised that we didn't hit my target in the beginning. So if we do take a measured move of this pattern breakout, say it happens tomorrow, then we're looking at either a rejection at this old rising channel, which would be around 617, which is pretty damn close to my 519 target, or the max breakout of this here is at around 524 or 522. So, this is my old, right here, 619.22 was the target breakout of this huge pattern. So we're getting close to hitting this target, and that's where we're going to have to start getting a little more concerned and watching carefully over what's going to happen over the next few weeks after we hit this target, because we could sell right off or we could buy up a little higher. I mean, there's nothing. This is just where my targeted move out of this is 619.22. And there's the measured move. And this target here is 622.63. So we could come up to that point, sell off, get resistance below this rising channel, and then start butting our heads against 617 area before coming back down and potentially retesting this pattern as support, which would still be around 570 area. We could bounce in there. But look here, we consolidated here, had a blast off. This is going to be kind of fun to look at for the hell of it, just to see like how high we could actually come. Now, it doesn't mean that it has to do this, but I just want to see how Tesla reacts to these patterns normally, to see if this will give us a confluence, give us any potential like peaks before we can start another consolidation pattern that could be just as massive as these other two. So we had 70% run up from the breakout. And right now, we're about a 35% run up. So do we think that this actually has potential of going up to a 70% breakout as well? I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities, that's for fucking sure. This is Tesla, guys. So do I think that we're going to run right up to this 70% breakout now? I don't. I think that that's going to be where we're going to end up after this inverse head and shoulders plays out. Once we peak out here, get a correction, a heavier correction, maybe to a 0.382 fib level or something. But this 70%, we're looking at 742. We're looking at right around $742. So that could be where we end up hitting this peak and then, eventually dropping and then consolidating somewhere in between this who knows? It could be between $600 and $742 for the next 3 months or something like that. Who knows? It's hard to say. But with, the S&P and everything like that happening, it getting added to the S&P 500, that's when we could start getting some consolidation. They could be buying it up between the $600 and the $742 level. All this is possibilities. But I do expect us to come a little bit lower before we get up into that 742 level. I'm still saying my target is 618 to 622, and then a correction to potentially 518, maybe even 483. That's the daily. But I'm thinking my target's 515 for a downside target after we sell off somewhere in the 620 area. But look at the hourly. If we do come up and test this rising channel, we could come up. I don't think we're going to just come up to right here on the RSI. I actually believe we're going to get back into the RSI on this 1 hourly because it's just the hourly. So the head and shoulders pattern I'm expecting would be up higher than I'm drawing here. So I'm thinking we'll come up to the top there, and that'll bring us to probably 620 or something like that, right around here. And that's probably where we'll end up getting out of, something like that. So we'll have to keep an eye on this anyway and see what happens. I'm just speculating right now, but I do see this potential head and shoulders that could bring us back down and maybe test lower levels. We'll have to see. But being so, pretty close to topped out on these daily RSI levels, maybe we'll have a bigger drop this time. I'm not sure. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just catch resistance. Maybe we'll just catch support and consolidate at the 570. I mean, it's too soon for me to say. All I can say is that we are going to be breaking out here. So 555 is our 555.16 is the bottom of this consolidation pattern that we're in this pennant here, and I'm expecting this thing to break out. That was where we dropped down, a fake wick down right at the 20 EMA on the 4-hour leaf, 540. So, I've been waiting for the 620 level. Now, I am a swing trader, and normally I would be trading and selling Tesla, and I'm still going to be considering selling, part of my position, depending on how the charts start to look. I do want to keep this as a long-term hold, so I'm not sure yet. I'm still contemplating, and I'm fighting myself about it. I am in I think I'm in $450 profit or something. Like I said, I only bought 2 of them at $400. So, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So, if it's going to come down to 480, I don't really want to see myself losing that money when I'll just buy it again around those lower prices. I don't care. So we'll see. But I'm going to be watching this like a hawk once I see my target hit, and going to have to decide if I'm going to be selling it in that range or not. But I just want you guys to know that there's definitely a breakout coming, and I am seeing this being to the upside. But, like we are on this channel, we're not only bullish. We like to look at both sides of things. So we are going to look at some support levels and see where we could potentially drop to if we broke down out of this pattern. And then also I want to see some fib retracements of the potential drop after we hit and drop down potentially like this. I want to see where this could catch support later on once we top out at this, if we top out at this 622 level. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so now let's take a fib retracement here on the daily from the swing low of this lowest wick recently to this highest point where we're at. So if you look at our support zones, we have, it's hard to see the 0.236. That looks like 524. No, is that 5? Oh, that's 542. Oh, look at that. 542, and then the 0.382 was at 518, and then 0.786 was down at 492. So those are your areas there for support. So if we do decide to come down and retest somewhere in this daily, it might not be 480. It might actually be 492. I'm actually expecting on this next dip, once we get this potential dip that I can't say dip because I don't know for sure that we're going to get a dip as soon as we hit 520. But that's what I'm expecting, somewhere in the 520 range, a dip. And when we do get this dip, because we will be oversold most likely, or overbought rather. We'll be overbought, or is it overbought or oversold? Either way, we're going to be too high on the RSI and up in the high range, probably needing a correction, and we're probably going to come down to, my guess and my support zone would be the 0.382 at 518. That's where I would call it. We could come down to the 492 as at the lowest before we create the inverse head and shoulders and double bottom somewhere down there. But, for the negative case, let's take a look at the potential breakdown of this pennant. 502.53 if we break down. And if we break up, 522.11 to 524. 622.11 to 624. And that's pretty much where we're at. So you guys know the targets. You guys know what we're expecting here. I'm expecting a pump, and I'm expecting somewhere in the 618 to the 624 level. And then rejection, potentially a couple tests, butts its head up against it, and sells off. And then we're going to be heading down to the 515 level. So that's where I'm at. All right, guys. Peace.